You've played CS2, maybe even CSGO. You know the maps, the guns, the strategies. But what if I told you that the roots of everything you love today come from a game that was raw, unforgiving, and I'd argue very different? CS 1.6 wasn't about fancy graphics or flashy abilities, it was about pure skill, mastering movement, learning recoil patterns that punish the slightest mistake, and playing rounds where every bullet, every decision could mean the difference between victory and defeat. No matchmaking, no skins, just you, your team, and a community that lived and breathed every clutch, every rush, and every eco round. This is what Counter-Strike 1.6 was actually like. Counter-Strike 1.6, often simply called CS 1.6, is the product of a unique journey in video game history that began as a community-driven project and evolved into one of the most influential esports titles ever. The story starts in the late 1990s with Min Guzman Lee, an inspiring programmer and modder. Initially, Lee experimented with mods for the game Quake, creating a mod called Navy SEALs, which introduced a SWAT versus terrorist concept. He later worked on Action Quake 2, further refining his ideas about tactical team-based shooters. After the release of Half-Life in 1998, which was lauded for its innovative gameplay and moddable engine, Lee, along with Jess Cliff, began developing a new modification for Half-Life. This mod, simply called Counter-Strike, was first released as a public beta on June 19, 1999. The mod quickly gained traction due to its unique team-based gameplay, pitting terrorists against counter-terrorists in different scenarios. The rapid rise in popularity of Counter-Strike caught the attention of Valve, the creators of Half-Life, and Valve acquired the rights to Counter-Strike and brought Lee and Cliff on board. Under Valve's guidance, Counter-Strike was refined and released as a standalone retail game in November 2000. The game continued to evolve through a series of patches and updates, with notable versions like 1.3 and 1.4 released in 2001 and 2002 respectively. CS 1.6 refers to specifically the final major update to the original Counter-Strike, with its beta debuting in January 2003 and the final version releasing later that year. This update introduced significant gameplay tweaks, new weapons, and anti-cheat measures, solidifying the classic mechanics and balance that defined the Counter-Strike experience for years to come. It was also the first version distributed via Valve's new digital platform, Steam, marking a shift in how PC games were delivered and updated. 1.6 movement system is legendary for its raw and grounded feel. This created a sense of freedom and responsiveness that's rarely matched. The infamous bunny hop is a prime example. By perfectly timing jumps and synchronizing mouse movement with strafe keys, players could chain together jumps and move faster than normal running speed, outpacing opponents and dodging bullets with fluid, unpredictable motion. Momentum decrease was also present in 1.6. If you, for example, missed a B-hop, it would slow down your speed considerably. The skill ceiling for movement in 1.6 was extraordinarily high. Beyond basic bunny hopping, advanced techniques like ground strafing and the stand-up ground strafe allowed players to squeeze out even more speed and precision. Long jumps, achieved by combining a running start with a perfectly timed jump and strafe, enabled players to reach unexpected positions or escape danger rapidly. Mastery of these techniques wasn't just about moving from point A to point B, it separated elite players from the rest, as movement itself became almost like a weapon and a core part of the game. In contrast, movement in CSGO and CS2 feels simpler. Valve intentionally reduced the impact of advanced movement techniques to level the playing field and focus more on gunplay. As a result, the speed boosts and unpredictable duels that define the CS 1.6 are more rare in newer titles. Every duel and rotation in 1.6 was shaped by this fluid motion. Players could outmaneuver each other in ways that simply aren't possible in later versions, making every engagement feel dynamic and skill-driven. In 1.6, mastering recoil was a true test of skill. While each weapon did have a core recoil pattern, there was a built-in randomness, specifically a 1 in 7 chance for the horizontal direction of the recoil to change with each shot. This meant that, unlike later games with fixed patterns, controlling the spray of rifles like the AK-47 or the M4A1 required not only memorizing the general pattern, but also adapting on the fly to unpredictable shifts. The visual feedback was also harsher. The crosshair would jump more dramatically with each shot, making the recoil feel stronger and punishing imprecise control. Tapping was reliable for long-range engagements because of the very hard-to-control recoil of the weapon, while spraying was viable only at close range and demanded intense practice to control. The margin for error was razor-thin, making every duel a high-stakes test of mechanical skill. The AWP sniper rifle was a game-changer in CS 1.6. Unlike later versions, there was no movement penalty for quickscoping. Players could fire immediately after scoping in, with full accuracy, allowing for lightning-fast, lethal shots. This made skilled AWPers both feared and hated. A player with sharp reflexes could dominate rounds, picking off enemies with seemingly impossible speed. The lack of a quickscope penalty amplified the weapon's power and cemented its reputation as the most iconic and controversial gun in the game. Also, your movement speed didn't get impacted when scoped in, which allowed for more free movement. In 1.6, wall banging was notoriously powerful. Many walls, doors, and map objects were highly penetrable. Players could eliminate enemies through multiple walls or even across the map, provided they knew the right angles and common hiding spots. Classic maps like DE Dust 2 or Inferno were filled with well-known wallbang spots, such as shooting through double doors, wooden planks, or thin concrete. These spots became integral to competitive play, strategies being built around pre-firing or spamming through walls. While weapon damage and material thickness did affect penetration, the overall reduction was relatively minor compared to later games. Even rifles and SMGs could deal significant damage through most surfaces, making wallbang kills far more common and impactful. The economic system was more punishing and less forgiving than in later Counter-Strike versions. There was no cash reward for planting the bomb unless the round was lost, and the loss bonus from the pistol round is now in CS2 1900, but in 1.6 it was only 1400, which could make recovering from a pistol round loss much harder. In some cases, a pistol round win meant winning the first 3 rounds of the game, which is a lot for MR12. The tactical meta was also fundamentally different to how it is now due to the lack of utility options. There were no Molotovs or incendiary grenades, and this scarcity made every piece of utility precious. Teams had to be extremely precise with their grenade usage, and full executes were simpler and riskier, and as a result, executes were less about overwhelming defenders with utility and more about timing, surprise, and raw gunfights. Before online matchmaking and ranked ladders, 1.6 was the heart and soul of LAN cafés around the world. Players would shout callouts and taunts across the room, celebrating clutch plays or groaning at missed shots. The energy was visceral. Every round win brought cheers and every loss was met with groans or playful trash talk. The in-person atmosphere turned every match into a social event, forging friendships and rivalries that often lasted for years. With no built-in matchmaking, the 1.6 competitive scene was entirely community-driven. Players organized matches through IRC channels, where clans could challenge each other to scrims or official clan wars. Scheduling, negotiating server settings, and even settling disputes all happened in real time, often with a healthy dose of banter. This community-led system created a tight-knit, passionate community where reputation and word of mouth mattered just as much as your in-game skill. The 1.6 era birthed some of the most iconic memes and funny moments in gaming. The 2 I could think of right off the bat is the 5-man tower defuse through the floor of a site on Nuke, and of course the famous door stuck, which I'm sure most of you have watched or heard about.
I tried to sneak through the door, man. Can't make it, the shit's stuck. Out of my way, son! Door stuck! Door stuck!
The longevity of the game and the cultural impact are inseparable from its vibrant modding community. The game supported thousands of custom maps ranging from competitive classics to wild experimental arenas. which players could easily download and install. Surf maps where players learned to surf along sloped edges for speed and agility, and KC climbing maps, which challenged players' movement skills with intricate jumping puzzles, became subcultures of their own. Zombie mods, aim maps, and even novelty mods like Pokemon or soccer servers kept the experience fresh and unpredictable, ensuring there was always something new to try. Online repositories offered collections of hundreds or even thousands of maps, making custom content a core part of the 1.6 experience. CS 1.6 open community-first design fostered a culture of experimentation, creativity, and competition that not only defined its era, but also left an indelible mark on the entire FPS genre. During the heyday of CS 1.6, the professional scene was the beating heart of early esports, setting standards for competition and teamwork that still influence gaming today. Major international tournaments like the Cyber Athlete Professional League, the World Cyber Games, and the Electronic Sports World Cup were the cornerstones of the scene. The first prestigious international event in Dallas, Texas offered a $150,000 prize pool and was won by Ninjas in Pajamas, marking the beginning of the game's golden age. These events drew teams and fans from across the globe, transforming Counter-Strike from a community-based phenomenon into a professional sport. The scene was fiercely competitive, with powerhouse teams emerging from every region. Some you probably recognize from today's competitive scene. Europe was home to giants like SK Gaming, Fnatic, MTW, Virtus.pro, and NIP. North America saw the rise of Team 3D and Complexity, while South America was represented by MIBR. Asia had contenders like Lunatic High and Executors. These teams became household names, and their rivalries fueled some of the most memorable moments in early esports history. 1.6 wasn't just a milestone in gaming, it was a cultural phenomenon that shaped the way we play, compete, and connect. Its blend of fast-paced movement, precise gunplay, and community-driven competition created an experience that was as challenging as it was thrilling. The game's legacy lives on not only in the strategies and skills passed down to modern Counter-Strike, but also in the vibrant culture and memories shared by millions. Whether it's the adrenaline of a perfectly timed rush beat, the laughter from a chaotic clutch, or the camaraderie forged in LAN cafés and online scrims, 1.6 remains a symbol of passion and innovation. It reminds us that great games are more than just code. They are the stories we create together.